I'm Nate, and I'm a digital addict. A digital addict. Does anyone know what that is? Show of hands. Anybody? Digital addict. Addicted to digital technology. Phones. Netflix. My computer. Essentially any technology-driven substance. It's almost like a substance addiction, actually. Addicted to one of these things. I can't go to sleep without looking at one of these things. I wake up in the morning. The first thing I do when I wake up is I reach over to the table and open up my eyes, and the first thing I see is that glowing screen. Almost like that warm glow is almost comfort for me. It's like being wrapped up in a nice warm little bear hug, like for my grandma. All right? Thing is that technology is not bad. It's not evil, for the most part. But over the past few decades, technology, especially in the age of the internet, the age of mobile technology, the age where I actually, confession time, I've actually watched streaming Netflix television while driving. I have a little clip that I got on Amazon, another digital platform, while driving. I still remember it. I was like, man, I'm going to hell for this for sure. I'm going to hell for this for sure. You know what it was? I still remember. It was the Bernie Mac show. It was cutting in and out a little bit. I was in the middle of nowhere. I was trying to stay awake. And right now I'm trying to come up with a bunch of stupid reasons and excuses why that was okay, because it's not okay. Maybe music would have been fine. Maybe something that wasn't this. That is so dangerous. It's so dangerous. Okay? So how did this happen? All right, how did this happen? I'm 36 years old, even though I look 50, according to most of the college students here. And I grew up at the transition point, right? I remember buying a ColecoVision game system from a garage sale. It's the only one I've ever owned. I'm not a gamer. It's a whole different addiction, a different talk, right? And growing up, I ended up finding and discovering all these things. I remember discovering IRC, Internet Relay Chat. And I was like, whoa, I could talk to chicks on this. I immediately picked it up before it was even a thing. And I was 12 years old and thinking, oh my goodness, I am the coolest guy in the school. And worse, I got to the school, that addiction, that first digital addiction, turned into antisocial behavior. I was clamming up. I was terrified. I didn't go on a date with an actual girl until I was 19 years old. That's just embarrassing. That's embarrassing, okay? So what happened next? I went to the Air Force Academy. I somehow made it through high school because I spent most of my time in libraries or on the internet. Mosaic, some of those early internet browser technologies, and going deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole. I was good at it. And I picked it up and just started gobbling up knowledge. So that's a good thing, right? Gobbling up knowledge is a good thing. Communicating with people online is a good thing. Meeting people from across the world is a good thing. It's great. It's not bad. Fast forward even more. Graduate from the academy. Actually, let me back up just a little bit. Another good thing about this addiction is I spent a lot of time on an email platform known as Microsoft. It was not Microsoft at the time. It was Hotmail. I had my little Hotmail account, and I used to be a swing dancing addict. And that was the one thing balancing out my world, is that for all the time and intensity I put into these devices and into this technology and into this binary conversation, I balance it out by running dances. Some of them in here have actually been to some of my dances, and it's fun. And I'm not ultra good at it, but I love doing it, and it balanced out the digital part of my life. Meet a girl at one of these dances, and because I spent so much time on my computer, I spent a lot of time writing. I was pretty good at the time. I thought I was awesome, but I was maybe a little bit above average. I wrote to her I won her heart over email. The inbox was where our romance flourished. I ended up marrying this woman and having 2 kids with her. So maybe it wasn't a bad thing that I got addicted. Maybe it wasn't bad. Fast forward another couple of years. I'm living in England, stationed at RAF Lakenheath, which is kind of, if England was broken up like the United States, it would be like the deep south of England. It was lots of rednecks, cars on blocks, can't understand a damn thing anybody's saying. And I'm out there, and what am I doing? Oh, you guessed it, technology. I was managing technology and up on roofs and doing wireless stuff and really cool stuff. I was learning so much and I was good at it, and it felt good to be good at something because I was pretty mediocre growing up. I was painfully normal. Painfully normal. A few years after we're there, my daughter, Anna, starts losing language. She starts losing words. So we, of course, what's the first thing we do? We jump online and, okay, why is she losing words? She's supposed to be gaining words. So we go through on a bunch of battery of tests and discover she has autism. Needless to say, that put a little pressure on the marriage. Amongst my digital addiction, I wasn't dancing anymore. That balance was gone. So I spent most of my time at home going into the house and just screwing around on my computer all night instead of being a dad, instead of being a good husband. That marriage ended. It ended. So the same thing, the same birthplace as that romance and those beautiful children, the same thing ended it. It ended it. Okay? So we got these two worlds of this good part and this bad part of digital technology. So Anna gets diagnosed with autism. And it sucked. It did. And having to go back to fundamentals. And I remember sitting in my living room with this gal. And she said to me, she's like, just slow down, stop talking. And I like to talk. Even though I'm antisocial, I love to talk. So I'm just thinking, maybe if I just talk to her more, the autism will just magically go away. No, it doesn't work that way at all. So she sat down with me and she's like, Nathan, slow down, don't say anything. Right now your job is to step into her world. Let me say that again, that your job as a dad right now is to step into her world. So she had me slow down. I had to learn how to talk less. I had to learn how to listen. Still learning that one. And what ended up happening is, as the marriage was falling apart and as we're dealing with this autism stuff, is I ended up with full custody of this little girl. And I ended up out after the military, thinking I was awesome. And up in Seattle with no car, no house, no wife, no life, $38,000 in unsecured debt. I was a loser. I had no job. I had nothing. I lost everything. And I even lost for a while my internet connection. And you know what? That was my mark of poverty. It was like, oh yeah, things are pretty tough, but got my internet up, got gas in the car, I'm doing all right. That's how bad it was. So even after all these major life events and almost losing my kids in the process, but as I said, what ended up happening with Anna is that my digital addiction, once again, is double-edged sword. This digital addiction that I had, I downloaded movies. I converted, I remember it was DivX was the technology at the time. I was taking all her DVDs, all of her kid movies, and converting them into these online movies so we could sit and watch them compulsively, one after the other, commercial-free. And I discovered the only way at the time I could communicate with my little girl was via movie quotes. She can't, part of her flavor of autism is she's looking at a face and she can't tell bored versus happy versus sad versus love versus hate. She had to be taught human face, how to read emotion. And Disney, because it's so hyperbolic, was one of those areas that we did that. So we used to watch the movies, and I used to string together movie quotes and little bits of stories to be able to communicate. So the same thing that drove me down that road helped me connect with my daughter, to communicate with her the first time. It's like I'd cracked the code. I'd cracked the code. But you know what's happening next? Once again, all that work, every single time that I felt scared or depressed, which was a lot. You know, divorce does that to a man's soul. That and failure does that. That I would start caving it up. I would lock myself up in the room, and I would just watch Netflix. Oh, geez, I was like one of the first users of Netflix streaming. I would just binge. I was one of the guys that they were measuring in the early days. I was a beta user in Netflix. And I would just binge on this stuff. And now, fast forward a few more years, and I've identified that I have a problem. I have apps on my phone. My phone will turn off. I'll turn everything off at 11:59 every night. There's an app for that, right? So once again, digital technology solving a real problem. In this case, solving the problem that it helped create. All right? So fast forward a bit, and I have a business now. In the beginning, I worked with lots of tech startups, lots of entrepreneurs, lots of people that were in the digital world like me. I was comfortable. I was like, oh, yeah, I can sell the hell out of that stuff. I'll help you sell that. I could talk. I could send emails. I could figure out social media. So I ended up digging into this stuff, and I got a call from somebody, a guy that wanted to work with us. And I was like, oh, I'll help you out with that. I'll just email your stuff over. He says, I just want you to show me how to do this. And he pleaded with me. He was begging me, could you just please spend half an hour and just show me how to do this? He, because of this digitally heavy world, he became hungry for a human connection. So all the connection that this created, all this hyper-connectiveness, created this opposite problem. The other side of the sword is that people became lonely, and they starved for a human connection. They're starving for it. And in business, what are you supposed to do? You find the hungry and you find a way to feed them, and they will pay you for it. They will. So, looking at innovation and at technology, looking at your own relationship with social media and your phone. These are not bad things. I imagine some of you may have even gotten laid because of one of these things, right? Happy times. And I imagine some of you have been broken up with or have been broken because of text messages on one of these things. I've been on both sides of that equation. Felt like shit. It's like, wow, like all the things that I was, when I was the one that was like, you know what? I'm just going to break up with her over text. That'd be so much easier. Because people are looking for those shortcuts. But what ends up happening is that, what do they all say? I wish he just would have told me. I wish he just would have come to me and told me that I was screwing up. You know, like, am I not worth an uncomfortable phone call? Am I not worth that? Are you not worth that? Are you not worth that? A phone call? Maybe a few years invested in something? Are you not worth a conversation? Are you not worth a little bit of discomfort? So we've got this entire generation, this entire culture that is slowly eroding because of all this, our relationship, an unhealthy relationship with digital technology. Yet most of us in this room are being employed because of digital technology. We can't get rid of it. This is not a Band-Aid we can yank off. It's not. Okay? So what do? You find ways to provide that balance. For me in the beginning, it was dancing. There was actually a few people in here. Recognize you, thanks for coming out. Dancing was one of those things that helped balance it out. It's hard to do on a phone and be dancing out there with a phone on your ear, Or it says, oh, let me text this, like, I'm going to dance trying to do a selfie. I imagine someone will create like a selfie stick that's like dancer friendly. That would be pretty awesome, right? And I will probably buy one. Okay? So the people in this room, the type of people in here that are going to, on a Friday afternoon, beautiful, it's warm out right now, it's not raining, it's gorgeous, are inside this room are the type of people that are innovators. Most of you in here are likely entrepreneurs. Most of you are probably hungry and thirsty for knowledge, right? So your responsibility is to find a way to build that balance into your business and into your life to keep it healthy. The only way we're going to stop the erosion and corrosion of culture and getting breakups via text message, they even have apps for breakups now. Because of that, it is your responsibility as the innovators and as the entrepreneurs and as the smart people in the room. It is your responsibility to inject humanity back into your business, back into your lives, back into your relationships. And, you know, don't be throwing away your phone. This is not like post-apocalyptic America. Phones are good. I make a living off my phone, off email. That's the main thing I sell now is email. So I keep my kid fed because of this stuff. So we can't get rid of it. But you need to add that balance in there. Anything, any little bit will work. Just a little touch. Like a cooking, just that little pinch of salt. Sometimes it's enough. You know, I mean, I was conflicted. I had to fire somebody recently. It broke my fucking heart, man. It did. He was a good kid. He was a good apple. And I got weak. I actually broke up with him, in this sense, over email. That is weak, okay? Because you know what? He tried. He worked hard. It wasn't lack of heart. So in that particular case, that's never going to happen again. That was like, that guilt from that is still festering right now. So in that particular case, even though I may have hired and recruited this person via email, maybe we're sitting right next to each other, tapping away on our computers, helping our clients, making some money, making a living. How do we add humanity to that? How do we add humanity to that? Think about it. Like, how do you add that human connection? Meetup.com. It's a digital platform designed for people to get off their phones and actually hang out with each other. Tinder. It's a hookup app. People are addicted to it, but the people that are using it are actually getting a human connection, right? So thank you for listening. I know I'm a little over time. My name is Nate, and I'm a human.
Give a round of applause for Nate. Sweet. And so if you guys have any questions, I forgot to let you guys know beforehand.